Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Young and Restless bombshell, Mariah's dark secret is tied to spoiler, and the truth changes everything we thought. We knew young and restless Mariah is harboring a secret so horrible that she can't even confide in her closest loved ones. We all assumed she'd cheated, but the truth is much darker and more consequential. So much so that it changes everything we thought would happen. When Mariah returned to Genoa City from her business trip for Cassidy first, she was clearly a different woman than she left. Her emotions got the best of her when she reunited with her wife Tessa, who could sense something was off. The same held true for her mother Sharon, who sat her rattled daughter down for a chat. Mariah confessed she had done something so terrible whilst on her trip that she couldn't even believe it herself, and she definitely couldn't tell her wife. It came out that Mariah had been struggling with guilt over Ian Ward's re-invasion of their lives and the damage he'd wrought on her loved ones. The unbearable feelings led her first to the hotel room's minibar and then to the well-stocked, full-sized version, presumably in the hotel lounge. This was pretty much the extent of the information she shared with her mother, leaving us all to assume she'd cheated on Tessa while under the influence. But when she next appeared on screen, another piece of the puzzle emerged. And it was a doozy. Mariah had been approached by someone whilst intoxicated, but not by a hot lesbian temptress or even a handsome business type. Instead, it was an older man who featured in Mariah's flashbacks. He walked up and mused, "You look like you could use a friend." Well, this just left us, frankly, with a bad case of the creeps, not just because he was hitting on a drunk woman sitting alone, but because he was giving, we hesitated to even think it, but culty Ian Ward vibes. This is where the nature of the story becomes darker and graver, with Ian being so much at the forefront of Mariah's thoughts and nightmares ahead of her business trip. It wasn't long before we began to speculate that, in her drunken state, Mariah at some point mistook this man for Ian. Our worst suspicions were all but confirmed when Mariah told Tessa that it wouldn't be safe for her to tell her the truth about what happened that night. The only reason she would say that is if a crime was committed and she didn't want to make her wife an accessory after the fact. Our theory? The man followed Mariah back to her room and made some kind of advance on her, in her state of inebriation and panic. His face became that of Ian Ward, and she lashed out at him with all of the pent-up fury and pain she'd borne toward the cult leader since discovering he'd kidnapped her as an infant. Did Mariah commit murder? It certainly seems as though that could be her dark secret. Depending on how long it takes to come to life, it could still negatively affect her marriage and even drive Tessa into the arms of her new confidant, Daniel. However, once the reality of the horror Mariah's been dealing with is revealed, we're certain her wife will want to support her, whatever she will be facing. With the truth being so consequential and life-changing, the implications will defo be different than if she'd merely had a one-night stand. Mariah has some heavy drama ahead of them, soaps readers. Whispers from the past Mariah Copeland has never been a stranger to struggle. Abandoned, manipulated, and redeemed, she's carved out a life defined by resilience. Yet viewers have long sensed that something from her past has been haunting her, a shadow that flits across her expression in quiet scenes, a hesitation in her voice when certain names come up. Recently, her partner Tessa Porter began picking up on the signs. Mariah, normally open and emotionally expressive with Tessa, has been evasive and on edge. Tessa's concern quickly escalated to suspicion, especially after Mariah canceled plans, withdrew from friends, and became uncharacteristically jumpy around Sharon. Then came the slip-up. During a casual conversation with Faith, Mariah referenced an incident from her childhood. one she had supposedly never shared. When Faith asked a simple follow-up question, Mariah froze. The room went quiet. A secret was threatening to surface. The mysterious name, Eleanor Franklin. Tessa's curiosity reached a breaking point. While tidying up their loft, she stumbled upon an old, worn envelope. Inside was a faded photograph of a woman in her 50s, standing beside a teenage Mariah. On the back was scrawled a name, Eleanor Franklin. Tessa didn't recognize the name, but Sharon did. Eleanor Franklin was once employed by Ian Ward, the cult leader who nearly destroyed Nikki and tried to use Mariah as a pawn in his schemes. But what Sharon didn't know, what no one knew, was that Eleanor was more than just a cult follower. She was Mariah's biological aunt. This stunning revelation begged the question, what else had Mariah hidden? And why had she never told anyone? The basement. Truth. The truth, as it turns out, is far darker than anyone imagined. Mariah had lived with Eleanor briefly during her early teens after a short stint in foster care. But Eleanor wasn't the warm-hearted guardian she pretended to be. Under Ian's orders, she had subjected Mariah to psychological conditioning, prepping her to become a loyal, unquestioning follower in Ian's future plans for his new order. Mariah had blocked out much of the experience, burying the trauma deep within. But Eleanor didn't just manipulate her mentally. She forced Mariah to record surveillance videos of people from Genoa City that Ian had targeted, including Sharon. This bombshell, once uncovered, sends shockwaves through the Newman family. Victor, already deeply distrustful of Mariah, sees this as final proof that she is a threat. Sharon, caught between motherly love and betrayal, begins to unravel emotionally. And Nick. He turns icy, unable to look Mariah in the eye. Kyle's involvement, Mariah's secret edges toward exposure, another figure becomes entangled in the mess, Kyle Abbott. Back in her surveillance days, teenage Mariah had been directed to follow not only Sharon and Nick, but also the Abbotts. Kyle, young and naive at the time, had a brief encounter with Mariah in a park, one he has completely forgotten. But when Mariah retrieves the old surveillance tapes in a panic, one of them reveals a shocking moment. A young Kyle, unknowingly, recorded witnessing a heated confrontation between his father Jack and Diane Jenkins. A confrontation that, in hindsight, suggests Diane may have faked her death with Jack's help. Suddenly, Mariah's secret morphs into a new level of danger. If that tape gets out, it could not only ruin Jack's career and legacy, but possibly implicate him in a decades-old criminal conspiracy. The secret gets out. Tessa, feeling the weight of the lies, finally confronts Mariah. In a tearful, explosive scene, Mariah breaks down and confesses everything about Eleanor, Ian, the surveillance, and the tapes. But unbeknownst to both women, someone else has been listening. Audra Charles, always a step ahead and hungry for leverage, planted a bug in their loft weeks ago during a friendly visit. Now, armed with the knowledge of Jack's possible involvement in Diane's faked death and Mariah's ties to Ian Ward, Audra sets out to make a power move that could turn her into the Queen of Genoa City. Redemption or ruin. Word spreads. The Newman family is divided. The Abbotts go on high alert. Jack begs Mariah to hand over the tapes before Audra can strike, but Mariah is torn. If she does, she'll lose the trust of everyone she's tried to rebuild her life with. If she doesn't, she risks Jack going down for something she never meant to expose. In a deeply emotional scene with Sharon, Mariah revisits the emotional scars left by Eleanor Franklin. Sharon, slowly softening, encourages her daughter to be brave, reminding her that truth, no matter how painful, is the path to healing. In the end, Mariah turns the tapes over to Sharon, who consults with Michael Baldwin. Together, they secure the evidence before Audra can unleash it and prepare for the fallout with the appropriate authorities. Fallout and future. Though the worst is avoided legally, the social and emotional fallout is staggering. Mariah and Tessa, separate temporarily as Tessa tries to process the enormity of the deception. Sharon, while supportive, finds herself needing space, reeling from the thought that Mariah was once used to spy on her. Kyle, shaken by the implications of the tape, turns to Summer, but a part of him wonders if Mariah might still be hiding something else. Jack and Diane, furious and frightened, begin their own investigation to discover who else may have known and who else may be in danger. Audra, undeterred, moves on to her next target, more powerful than ever after narrowly missing a public win. A new chapter begins. Mariah walks away from the drama with a battered heart but a clearer conscience. In the final moments of the arc, she visits Cassie's grave, placing a small photo of herself and Eleanor on the headstone, not to honor Eleanor, but to leave the past behind. "I'm done hiding," she whispers. "This time, I write the ending." Cue credits, cue chills. Conclusion, a truth that reshapes Genoa City. Mariah Copeland's dark secret isn't just a personal trauma, it's a plot twist that reframes history, redefines relationships, and reshuffles the power dynamic in Genoa City. Her tie to Eleanor Franklin and the surveillance tapes linked to Ian Ward unearth a long-buried web of manipulation and deception that could still hold more secrets. In true Young and the Restless fashion, what we thought we knew was only the beginning. And Mariah? In true Young and the Restless fashion, what we thought we knew was only the beginning. And Mariah? She may never be the same, but she's finally free.